Today, we're going to break down a communication framework that's designed to shift you from just tactical clarity to real strategic influence. Let's dive in.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about something I call the clarity trap. Then, I'll introduce you to a powerful framework, a spectrum of language. We'll see it in action with a classic case, the negotiator's gambit, and we'll wrap it all up with a super practical Monday morning action you can use right away.
Right? This quote just hits the nail on the head. We're all trained from day one to be direct, to give it to people straight. But here's the thing. In those really high-stakes leadership moments, that instinct can actually backfire, creating conflict right when you need to be building bridges.
Okay, so let's dig into this first part, the clarity trap. This is a super common problem that a lot of senior leaders face, where their attempts to be perfectly clear, well, they end up creating more conflict, not less.
Just think about it for a second. If you're an engineer writing code or a lawyer drafting a contract, yeah, precision is absolutely everything. But in a strategic discussion or a really tense negotiation, that same blunt precision can come across as abrasive. It can back people into a corner and basically kill a deal before it even has a chance to get going.
So, the big question is, how do we get out of this trap? Well, the answer lies in a really cool framework. It's all about reframing language as a strategic tool, not just a way to dump facts on people. Let's get into the spectrum of language.
Okay, so this spectrum gives us 4 different gears we can shift into. On one end, you've got blunt precision. Just the facts, ma'am. Next up is euphemism, which is what we use to soften tough news. You know, like saying, we're right-sizing instead of we're firing people. Then you have our focus for today, strategic ambiguity. And way over on the far end, there's deceptive language, which, just to be clear, is a total danger zone we want to stay far, far away from.
So let's be super clear about this. Strategic ambiguity is not about being dishonest or trying to dodge questions. It's a really sophisticated technique. It's all about deliberately using broader, higher-level language to create enough room for different people to see what they want to see, which lets you defer conflict on those really sticky details and, you guessed it, actually make progress.
I know. This can all sound a little theoretical, right? So let's make it real. Let's look at a classic negotiator's gambit to see how this powerful technique can totally unlock a situation that's completely dead in the water.
All right, picture this, a merger negotiation. It's totally stalled. I mean, going nowhere. The acquiring CEO is using that blunt precision, saying, look, the IP is worth $50 million, period. And the target CEO fires right back, no way, it's worth $100 million. They're just throwing numbers at each other. The deal is about to die.
And then the advisor steps in, and this is just brilliant. They don't argue about the 50 or the 100, they completely reframe the problem. They introduce this beautifully ambiguous language, talking about a collaborative process and a performance-based earnout. And why does this work? Because both CEOs can agree to that. Each one interprets it as a path to their own number. The conflict is deferred, and boom, the deal is back on track.
Okay, so you get it. You see how powerful this can be. But the real question is, how do you actually use this? Like on Monday morning with your team. Let's break it down into something you can take action on.
Seriously, take a second and think about your calendar for next week. What's that one meeting you're kind of dreading? That one conversation where you know you're just going to hit a wall? Yep, that's the perfect place to put this framework to work.
Here's your playbook. First, before you even open your mouth, analyze the context. What's your real goal here? Then practice getting agreement on a high-level principle. Like we all agree we need a significant investment before you start fighting over the exact number. And this one is huge. Differentiate. Be precise with your internal team, but arm them with strategic ambiguity for those tense external talks. And maybe even role-play it with them.
All right, if you forget everything else, remember this. This is your Monday morning action. In your very next stakeholder meeting, find that one single detail that everyone is stuck on. Don't fight that battle. Instead, I want you to take a step back and draft one sentence, a higher-level principle that everyone in that room can nod their head to. Build your alignment from there. So I want to leave you with this one question to think about. Look at your own communication style, your emails, your Slack messages, your team meetings. Is the language you're choosing actually building bridges to get things done, or are you unintentionally drawing battle lines in the sand?